I was in college and kind of had a million different jobs. Probably I've had about 50 different jobs. And I was unemployed at the time, so I gotten fired from a grocery store and got kicked out of my apartment and was pretty much in a hopeless situation. Walked around downtown Austin for 6 hours one day, put in 50 applications, got a job at a Japanese restaurant called Kyoto as a dishwasher. They only called me back because they thought my name was Japanese somehow, because I had S-O-N, part of Thai song. And started washing dishes there, and at that point in time, I think I was 20 years old, 21 years old. Never had a spot of Japanese food in my whole life. And I just literally fell in love with the food and the cuisine and wanted to eat it every day, and got to befriend some of the chefs there and started watching them make sushi and what they did with their knives. And it all hit me one afternoon where I just looked, and I was watching the line. I was watching them make the sushi and cut it, and the things that they did, and I saw all the colors of the fish, and I saw them basically forming and sculpting it and everything, and I was like, damn, I want to do that. Started out, opened the doors, was really hard. I was I was very naive. I was incredibly ignorant to how much work it was going to take. You know, people say, oh, if the restaurant doesn't, you got to have enough money to stay open for 6 months. If you don't, 90% of restaurants fail in the first year, this kind of thing. So the first 6 months was nobody in here. And, I'm having nights where I'm looking around, I got a staff of 12 and there's like one table. I was sweating bullets. And I'm like, was this really a good decision? And, I have people, my last teacher, my last sensei, even when I was going to leave and told him I was going to do this, he was like, it's a bad idea. You shouldn't do it. There's already 50 sushi bars in Austin. There's no way you'll ever make it, especially if you don't do traditional. Or if you go do your own version of Japanese food, then you're really not going to make it. Things caught on little by little. I got my first review in the paper, and I got 2 stars out of 5, and he slammed my kitchen food. I was crushed. And then one day I got a phone call, and it was Food and Wine magazine. And it was probably the most memorable call of my whole life. And I was sitting in the restaurant in the front working on menus, and I was like, okay, whatever, what do they want? They want me to do an ad or something or whatever. And I'm just like, well, I'm pleased to tell you that you won one of the top 10 chefs in America. And I just felt this like warmth shoot down my whole body. It was totally unexpected. I didn't think there was in a million years. But when that happened, I hung up the phone, I went out in front of the restaurant, and I literally stood on one of the tables, and I jumped up and down. Now I have a staff of a bunch of all-stars, and I have so much talent here now. I have the best pastry chef in the whole state. I have chefs I brought in from all over the world, from Thailand, from Japan, from Vietnam, and they make me look good. And so now when I'm in the dining room floor and people are like, oh, how'd you come up with your food so good? I'm like, thanks, whatever. If your knife's not sharp and you cut things, what that does is that bruises the material. So for example, like if you cut onions and they make you cry, well, you're crying because the onions are crying. And what's happening there in a scientific standpoint is you're crushing the cells. And that's where the fluid is created. So Sushi Chef has this saying where when I cut things, if my knife is sharp enough and I have the right movements, not only am I not going to crush the cells, but I'm actually going to bring life from the product. So something that's already dead, what I can do is if the knife is sharp enough and I cut it into 2 instead of 1 piece, both pieces will grow from that one. And that's the whole sensibility of Japanese food altogether. Is all about freshness and seasonal and just making things maintain their integrity. It's really about taking advantage of what you have. You know, what do we have here? You know, it took me a long time to do this. It was a lot of hard work, but I like to imagine anybody could have done it. You know, it's all about the work. You know, we live in America. If you put your nose to the grindstone and you bust your ass and you work hard and you listen and you have patience, you can do anything. And I think that that's relative to work. I think it's relative to human relationships, to marriages, to fatherhood. I'm learning just recently. And that's what it's all about. This is all you got. You got one life, and that's all you got. Maybe you'll go to heaven, maybe you'll go to hell, maybe you'll be resurrected, maybe you'll be reincarnated, who knows. But for this right now, as far as we know as human beings on the planet, this is all you got. So why the hell not try as hard as you can, right?